Hello.
Hello, how are we doing, Jen?
Doing awesome.
All right, let me make sure we put the recording. Okay, the recording is okay. Our recording is on and we are live, and I am so happy and excited to get this info Q&A started. Today, we are going to start off with an exciting testimonial because Nurse JenJordan, who I have the good pleasure of having her as one of my excellent holistic care practitioners on our team. She was telling me about an incredible testimonial, and I asked her to join us tonight to share this incredible story of transformation. So Jen, thank you for tuning in tonight
Absolutely.
from Northern California. So tell our friends and gems here about what happened about a week ago. Give us the nitty-gritty details and leave nothing out.
Yeah, absolutely. If everyone's okay with the nurse version, right, of this. So my 77-year-old mother, last Monday, the 4th, November 4th,
Mhm.
went under and had major pelvic reconstructive surgery. She had a very advanced case of prolapsed bladder and bowel. And she's fine sharing this. She put all the details on our local, our local group here too. So she's okay with this. So basically it was so prolapsed that she would actually have to put her parts back inside of herself to walk around. So and this went on for a very long time. So it was very, very advanced case. She finally decided she needed to do something about it and was ready to do so because she needs help on the ranch around here. So she couldn't really be out because the expected time for recovery is at least 6 weeks for this surgery. So she was needing to find 6 weeks where someone else could help her. So she finally was able to do that. My mom runs an alpaca ranch. And so had scheduled the surgery. Now I want to just give a little background on that backstory. I've been patching my mom for 16 months anyway. So she already had a good leg up for this, with her body being in a great place to go through this. So this is general anesthesia. We brought her home because I don't want my mom in the hospital. So I agreed to be her home health nurse. And she came home with a Foley catheter intact. So we had to keep her catheter in until Friday. Those were the instructions because the bladder typically, I guess, does not work very well after it's been completely pushed back up inside the body along with the bowels. And then they stitch the bladder, the bowels, everything to the inside of the cavity there so it will stay in place. So it's a very, very painful surgery. She's been on a Facebook group for weeks preparing. They're telling her to buy little grabber things. So, because they say you're not going to be able to bend over or anything for at least 6 weeks. And so that's what she was expecting. So as soon as she got home, she was already doing great. So she hadn't been patched that morning. But what we did is when we got her home that night, immediately got her down and I patched her, and I had been working with Lillian, and I and her had a conversation prior to on how I should patch her. So I patched her with Ice Wave on either side of her belly button. Ice Wave, she was having lower back sensations back here. So I had patched her on her low back, and then we did the Fantastic Five in a circle all the way around over her lower abdomen above her pubic bone area. And my mother did not once experience actual pain through this whole thing. So yesterday was 7 days post-op, and she still hasn't experienced any pain. We stopped using the Ice Wave at day 2. So she had oxycodone, all these pain medications that she was supposed to take. She did take some ibuprofen. But she did not have the actual pain. She would just have this sensation. And actually at one point it turned out that she had actually pulled on her catheter, and it was actually pulling and putting pressure on the bladder, the neck of her bladder. So that was actually causing most of the discomfort, not any part of the procedure for her.
Normally that would be, for most people, that would be excruciating.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it's just discomfort.
Yeah, so she was feeling discomfort and pressure. And so day two, we're strategically patching, and I'm also making sure she's laying flat. I'm doing the things with her. And because I didn't want her getting adhesions and having way too much pressure down by sitting up. So day two in the afternoon, she's just walking around. Now, granted, she's got this Foley catheter bag, and she said the worst thing about this entire thing was that Foley catheter bag she's dragging around until Friday, after the surgery. And so she has her catheter bag and she goes out on the afternoon, day two, and feeds the chickens. Now, we don't live on a flat area here. It's downhill, downstairs, ramps and everything. And she's out and about walking around pain free. And her skin is bright. She's has all kinds of pink color in her face. She's just doing fantastic. Going to get a little more graphic here. So what the doctor did warn her about is that the first bowel movement is awful, apparently. Pain, difficulty, because the bowels just were all rearranged. So that was the one thing she was very concerned about. Day two, that happened. There was no issue. She had a sensation, which she hasn't had because she hasn't been able to feel anything down there because there's been nerve compression as well. And so just no issues, no pain, no problems, no constipation. Everything was just perfect. And so fast forward, we pull her. And then she now from after day two, she just took over taking care of the chickens again. She's not down doing anything with the alpacas. We're being very aware of her not lifting anything more than 12 pounds. Okay, we're still going to do that. I don't want to tear any stitches out. Could she? She said, absolutely. Absolutely, she could lift. She said there's a lot more that she could be doing and she feels like doing, but she's resting and enough. Now then, so Friday comes along and it's the morning where we're supposed to pull the Foley catheter out. And that's supposed to be kind of a big deal as well, because the rate of people having to return back to the hospital because they can't urinate by the end of that day is very high.
Yeah.
Very high. So we pull the catheter and within 2 hours, she's urinating without any difficulty, any pain, any difficulty, no flow issue. The urine is just clear and beautiful. There's never been any blood in it. She was also supposed to be bleeding into pads. We were supposed to be changing pads for her. Had a little bit of old dried blood. That's it. So when she goes and talks to her doctor about this recovery, it's going to be pretty wild. So just let you know, the first day, 2 days we did 2 sets of ice wave, and then we did the 3949 glutathione eon and carnosine. That's what we patched her with.
So this is so extraordinary because people listening in on this, if you've ever met anyone who has had pelvic reconstructive surgery because of prolapse of their uterus and basically all their insides, their bladder and intestines and so forth, and to have your organ stitched back up in your perineum, people usually are in excruciating pain. They cannot get out of bed. They cannot sit up unassisted. You don't realize it's all of your internal organs have been brought back up, repositioned, and they're stitched quite literally together. And so for her to be, 99.999% of the people are in horrible misery, and even with 1, 2, or 3 narcotics are still in pain. And so for her to be so well, so recovered, so pain-free is, to me, nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah.
And is so extraordinary that I'm really quite baffled, to be honest with you. And I see miracles every day. Carol, who's on here, we see and witness a lot of incredible testimonials day in, day out. Jen, you are witness of a lot of testimonials of people. Every day we come across them. But this is, beyond extraordinary. And your mom is probably not 34. Even for someone who's 34 years old, this would be worse than childbirth. It's like excruciating. So your mom's probably over 50 is my guess.
My mom is 77.
Incredible.
So, oh, I forgot to add the the other piece of it. So so she has her surgery on the 4th, and then on the 10th, my business partner and I up here with the patches, we're putting on a presentation in someone's home for people interested in learning more about the patches. So the day before, I said, Mom, you're just looking so great. Do you think you might want to come to our event, which is about an hour away from here? And she said, I think I really like to. I said, well, this would be one heck of a testimonial for everybody. And she said, but if I do that, I think I probably am going to go to church too. So she gets up in the morning with my dad. They go to church. They're greeters. She went and greeted at the church.
So she's standing the whole time.
So she was standing the whole time greeting. Then they had had their session at church. Then they came over and met me at the place where we were doing the presentation. She's just sitting there fine with my dad. My dad has a great story too. And so I wanted them there, but I have them both up. I have her up. She's standing. She's speaking in front of the group. She's comfortable moving around. They go grocery shopping to 3 different stores after that and get back home.
So much stamina.
Yeah. So I checked on her. I didn't use an energy enhancer or anything on her. We didn't do any of that. So we get home and she's down. She goes, yeah, I'm a little tired, but she looked great. She looked fantastic. It was wild.
So and she's 77.
77.
This is so extraordinary. I am so happy and thrilled and excited. And for people who are going to watch this on the replay on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else we post this, I got to tell you, I thank my divine creator. I thank God Almighty. Whether you believe in God, that's not my monkey, not my circus. It doesn't really matter to me. The point of the matter is that I was divinely selected to say yes to Dr. Nirmala when she introduced these patches to me. And it's changed my life forever. And if it hadn't been for my saying yes to the patches, you would not be on the patches. Your mother would probably be in agony.
Yeah.
In horrific agony, recovering from this surgery that was extremely necessary, but it would be excruciating. And she's been spared all of that because you learned about the patches, you got started on them, you got her started on them. She said yes to the patches too. And what a different life experience. And so, my friends and gems, it would be a crime for me not to share this life-saving technology with anyone who can pass the mirror test. If you can fog a mirror, if you have a pulse, I'm going to tell you about this. And I think we all have an obligation and a duty. There are so many people that are suffering. And the reality is there is a pretty great probability that if you say yes to the patches, that you can get relief. And you're not getting relief because you're masking. You're going to get relief because there's actual reparation at a cellular level where the damaged tissue, and Nurse Jordan, you can elaborate on this, but we're actually replacing damaged tissue with brand new tissue. Do you want to speak a little bit about that? Because as a nurse, you have a higher authority than the average person that doesn't have a medical background.
Well, it's funny. I have a story that just happened about 20 minutes ago. And sometime I would like to jump on here too and tell the miracle of my father actually being alive and not on oxygen. So because you said yes, both my parents are thriving. But I had someone here that was helping me with an electrical issue here and couldn't lift his shoulder up past to here, excruciating pain, palpated it, and it's swollen on there. I said, here, let me throw an X39 and an Eon right on here. And I explained to him the Eon was going to help with inflammation. I said the X39, hopefully we'll just continue this. It's going to actually help with the tissue reparation, like you were saying. I said, and what it is it's a rotator cuff tear. He said, they don't heal because they can't get blood there. I said, well, that's what you've been fed. I said, however, if you continue forward with the X39, it is going to stimulate your body to create the stem cells there that are going to go in and actually create new tissue in the body. Okay. So I don't know if that's a great enough example. This literally just happened 20 minutes before the call. And so that's an example of how that can happen. So before, yeah, absolutely. Maybe what they've been studying with rotator cuff tears is they don't ever heal because they say they don't ever get, the blood flow there in order to happen. But no one's ever given them the opportunity to actually let the tissue repair on its own and restore. Okay. I'm sure people have done stem cell transplants into rotator cuff situations.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about it. And we can go down the rabbit hole of donor stem cells and the risk of autoimmune and the rejection and blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
No, exactly. And that's the thing why this is so safe. And if you threw X49 on there as well, so you're going to actually increase the microcirculation, the thing that they're saying is not able to happen at the rotator cuff.
And X49 also increases the bone density, which is going to help rebuild the cartilage and the bone that is lacking there. Whatever's damaged in the bone will be, bones actually can regenerate and can grow. Just like a lizard's tail, you cut it off, grows back. Our bones, because our bones are semiconductors. There's tons of science to support this. There's so many scientific studies, but the average person doesn't know that about the bones being semiconductors and its ability to regenerate. That is extraordinary. So I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't tell you, please do tell us about your dad's testimony.
Oh, yes.
It sounds like that's another one that's pretty juicy.
So they're both 70, well, they're 77 and a half. They're both around the same age. So my father I can't remember exactly. It's so funny, all these years or whatever, but my father, I think it was 21 or 22. He, almost died, from COVID. So twice. So, was in the ICU for 12 days one time, and he was in over a week the other time. So in the ICU twice. I saw him hauled out of our property here, like literally in a tarp and into the back of an ambulance because he was so immobile and they couldn't get him around things with a gurney. I said goodbye to him twice. At that time, you can imagine we couldn't go see him in the hospital. I couldn't talk to him. So when he left, that was my last contact with him. And so he was not on patches yet. Okay. Cause I was only introduced to this 18 months ago. So he is, goes in, he somehow, he tells us the reason he lived is because no one ever told him he could possibly die. I just love him. I was talking about this the other day with my mom. We're watching his labs. We're watching his kidneys fail. We're watching his, his D-dimer was like up into the hundreds of thousands. So that's bleeding out and dying. That's not okay. And so my mom and I embraced in front of the house one day and said, he's going to bleed. He's gone. The way his labs looked. Anyway, my dad said, well, no one told me. So, so we made it through. God's like, nope, you're not leaving here yet. So it was a miracle that he even made it out of there. He goes to rehab for a month. He comes home. He's on an oxygenator, full time, cannot get off it, dragging around this big machine, not just oxygen you wear on your back, the oxygenator, the giant big machines, because we couldn't just keep them, at the amount that we normally do with a nasal cannula. Was not going to work for him. So he's sitting on his little walker thing, hooked up to his thing. He'd lost all of his muscle mass and he's hunched over and he looked awful. And that's the first time and I called you and I said, where do I patch him? And you're like, in a circle, Fantastic 5, all the way around his chest, on his chest. So that's the first time we started patching him there on his chest. That's his first time with the patches. And so he did it every day, gradually gets off the big oxygenator, just goes to the nasal cannula where he's carrying his oxygen around. Go fast forward. He goes into his pulmonologist to have another chest x-ray done. And the pulmonologist said, A, I can't believe you lived. Like I don't know how you lived. And B, this is impossible. Your lung scarring is reversing. So the scarring and the thickness there on the lung, in the lungs was actually retreating back. And the pulmonologist said, I don't know what you're doing. And I always tell my parents, did you tell them? Like this is like my patches. And so So he's going back in again in a couple of months to have another x-ray. And we're going to be able to see, even how it's advanced even more. So now he does not need, he is completely off oxygen. That's the thing the pulmonologist said. He'll never be off oxygen ever the rest of his life. So he's been off the oxygen now for several months, not needing it all. His sats, O2 sats, because we have them, O2 sats are always good. He does still need time to catch his breath, but any
What's his pulse ox normally on a day-to-day basis, just out of curiosity?
He's up in the high 90s. Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he's it's great. And then right now what he's doing is we all property share with this. We have a big ranch. And so he's up right now currently laying down the last 8 planks on the hardwood floor that he just ran through the entire house.
Oh, he's doing hard physical labor.
Oh yeah.
And he's not huffing and puffing.
No, he will have to sit down and catch his breath every now and then. But he's not using any oxygen. That's because there's still some resistance there in the walls.
Yeah.
But he also didn't tell me that he started to patch with a little less in the last few months. And I'm like,
No, you can't do that yet. You need to get fully, yeah.
So when he was at our event on Sunday, I guess he came back home and told my mom, oh, I probably need to get back on all the patches again. I said, yes, you do. But regardless, I mean, he just laid down a whole house, new wood flooring all through the house without any oxygen.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. So I would love, absolutely adore, and yes, I will ask you because it will benefit others. If there's any chance we can get that first and that second x-ray, and when the third x-ray comes along in a few months, I would love to have that to show people, because that's such an incredible story for him to be able to reverse that lung scarring. Again, that's another thing that's unheard of. And again, people don't realize how horrific and how anguishing it is to not be able to breathe.
Oh, awful. He used to go into full anxiety attacks.
Yeah, it's very, because you feel like you're going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
So for you to have to struggle to get enough oxygen and to not be able to fill up your lungs and get enough air as you inhale, and then you don't fully exhale and you need to inhale again. It's a struggle and a strong will to live, to keep yourself moving forward with no end in sight.
Yes.
And so it is panic inducing. A lot of people, which makes it even worse when you have a panic attack or you have anxiety over it. It exacerbates an already bad situation, and it makes it, some people actually will pass out from it. And
absolutely.
Yeah, they'll actually pass out. And then once they pass out, then of course they're relaxed, and then their body can then regulate. They start to restore themselves, but their body is still struggling to bring oxygen in. So, oh my gosh, Jen, that is quite phenomenal.
I know. I'm so grateful. I mean, just what it's done just for my parents. They're thriving. They're reverse aging. My mom is running around. Her hair went from yellowy gray. If we want to just look at, vanity things, her hair went from yellowy gray to silver. It turned silver. And her whole, she called it her gobble gobble. Her whole gobble gobbles went away, and so there's those things.
Gobble went away.
My dad hasn't used a knee brace since he's been on these. He realized that 3 days ago. He says, "Oh, I haven't used my brace for about a year." And he's been on them for 14 months. So about month 2 into the patches, he stopped using his brace, but he didn't realize it till we actually talked about it. Because he had degenerative stuff happening in his knees.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So also his knee was also repaired during this time period.
Exactly.
So I know that there's one more story about a lady and energy enhancer that we talked about earlier today. That was something that happened recently. Do you remember what that story was?
Oh, my friend Tasha?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, so I have a great friend who I've started on these patches, and she's playing with them. And now she's actually started her 7-year-old on the patches too, just today. And so she texts me this morning and she says, okay, so there was an expletive word that she used. Holy duh. And she said, I just put the energy enhancers on this morning and I cannot believe the amount of energy I have. She said, it is out of this world. She said, this, I wish I have the text somewhere. She said, this is so legitimate, or I don't want to try to paraphrase with her, but, what did she say? Let's see. Oh, sorry. She's talking about her son. She said, it's mind blowing. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, she said, I use the energy patches today. Holy beep, beep, beep. I have so much energy. And she said, it's mind blowing and amazing. And that's what she said. She's starting to patch her son, who has very high EMF sensitivity. And so we're doing the Faraday, part of it too, is in the X39 and the X49 to help support that with him.
Oh, he's going to do so monumentally better.
Can't wait.
Jen, this is so extraordinary, and I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I'm so thrilled. This is like the best Christmas present to me ever. Hear you share this. Oh my God. And I'm the super lucky one, because I actually had a preview earlier today when I was talking to you and Marty during our meeting. So I got to preview some of this, and that's when I said, you got to come and share this tonight. And thank goodness you said yes. And now I'm able to experience it. I mean, it really is a vicarious experience for me to feel you share this incredible life-changing story. And here we go. We have 4 lives. You have your mother, your father, you have Tasha, you have your friend, and you also have her 5-year-old son, who is also, those are 5 lives that are forever changed for the better.
Yes.
So if anyone is doubting that, do these really work, and will they, maybe they work for them, but not for you. Well, listen, no one is so special that your stem cells don't work, because before you even knew what stem cells were, they'd been already working on you since your mother's ovum united with your father's sperm. And so whether you are consciously aware of their existence or not, they've been working. Just like gravity. Whether you believe in gravity or not, it doesn't matter. You're subject to the laws of gravity. And so all humans, all mammals are subject to your stem cells. And so no one is so special that you can't turn them on through these patches. And it's just a matter of applying these little patches. She was talking about energy enhancer.
Yeah.
See that I've got my tan on left and my white on right. And you just have to put them on. You can't get the benefit from the patch that you don't wear.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm more interested in becoming interested in energy enhancer. So I just ordered some, because it's not anything I've, since, my gosh, my first week of X39 and Eon, I was like, woo, and this was 18 months ago. Yes, those. And so I haven't really needed them. I've used them for if I go do trade shows every now and then, and they work so well. However, I'm learning more about them and their effects with the lymphatic system. And so
heart rate variability too.
And I'm not sure if it's okay to talk about that here. Is that fine?
Yes, yeah, you can talk about that. So the heart rate variability and the lymphatic system are improved, as well as enhancing your energy. Yeah, go ahead.
So I ordered them because so what I do with my work, I can see exactly inside my body where things are not functioning as well. And I'm starting to see a little sluggishness in the lymphatics for whatever reason, And so I thought, okay, I'm going to get the energy enhancer, and I'm going to use them specifically to support my lymphatic system. And just play around with it. So I will get back to you, because I'll be able to actually quantify that information based on my scan from a before and after that I'm going to do, and I'll be able to see if my lymphatics are improving. Plus, just palpating, I do see a little bit of stuff showing down here in my low leg here that's lymphatic-y. And so I'm super curious to try them for that, and I hope they work, because they can help so many of my clients that way, if that's the case too, because so many people have sluggish lymphatic system.
So let's take an opportunity, because you're in Northern California, you're in that Placerville area. And so if we have people that are watching this, it doesn't matter if it's on Facebook, if they're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, it doesn't matter. Wherever you find this, Eventbrite for all I know that you can reach out to Nurse JenJordan. She has a center. You and your partner have a center up in Northern California. Let them know the name of your center, and maybe share with the viewers here your phone number so that they can call you, reach you, ask you questions. And people who are living in that area are going to want to look you up. I know that you have an event coming up on the 30th and the 30th of November and the 1st of December.
Yes.
Tell a little bit to the viewers here about that so that we can let them know about that, because we want as many people to benefit from this.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So on November 30th, so I have my business partner and I have merged our what we do together. So what I do, actually, I see 99% of my people remotely. I have people, my clients are all across the United States and in Canada, Mexico, and Ireland. So I actually can see people internationally because all I do is have them send me a saliva slide. I take saliva, and then that's what I use to scan them into the machine I use, which is only a handful of them here in the United States. So it's called a time waiver. It's a DNA scanning that goes right to the root cause of illnesses. So people that haven't been able to get their answers with allopathic medicine, even going through functional medicine docs, those are my clients, and they end up with me, and we get to look at it that way. And I've joined up with Marty Winkler here in Placerville, who does emotion and body code. And so she and I work together, and we do special events together, utilizing, those modalities that we bring together, which creates some really magical things. And those are done in person. And so November 30th, we will be having an event in Placerville at the shop. It's an essential oil marketplace shop. It is adorable. It's an adorable shop that her family owns. And so we will be having a special event with you, making the amazing effort to fly up or drive up and be with us, so that we can provide, bring this information to more people. So if there is anyone on here listening that is close to Placerville, a good little landmark would be Sacramento. We're between Sacramento and South Lake Tahoe. Okay, it's an adorable little town. And so it's going to be a wonderful event. It's going to be a great place if you want to come. It's going to be fun. And to really hear stories, hear Lillian speak, and get more information about these patches. We are all so passionate about them as our stories with ourselves, our family, and our friends just build. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
It's awesome. Yeah. And every single participant, everyone who shows up, all of you who are in pain, you're going to be patched. And even those of you who don't have pain are going to get patched when you attend this live event. So if you're in that area between Lake Tahoe, Sacramento, and that Placerville area, if you're going to be visiting family because of Thanksgiving holiday weekend, if you're going to be flying in, you might want to reach out to Nurse JenJordan and reach out to her so that you can attend that event. It doesn't cost anything. We're going to have a little Prosecco in celebration of the holidays, right? We're going to have some giveaways as well. And number one thing is to teach, train, and educate you so that you learn and that you'll also experience this. And you're going to witness people who are at whatever their pain level is. We're going to get them down 50 to 100% less pain, or no pain in some cases. So Jen, I really want to thank you for sharing. It's been quite extraordinary. I want to see if Leola or Carol, if you guys have any questions for Nurse Jen, I want to give you the opportunity to ask her any questions.
Nurse Jen, I thoroughly appreciated what you talked about. Absolutely wonderful. I'm going to take this video, and I mean, with your mother must have been, I can relate to her. That's wonderful. And how you explained it and your background and everything just hit the spot. So I'm going to share this with everybody that I can. So thank you very, very much for sharing your life story there with your mom and your dad. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I so appreciate that. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you again.
Absolutely. And then Lily, I forgot, you asked me to give my phone number. I forgot.
Yes, please say your number so that people hear, and then I will put it in the description and in the comments here. So whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, people will be able to reach you because people might want to RSVP. Pretty soon we'll have an Eventbrite link that you can click on the Eventbrite and then you can register so that you can get your Eventbrite, QR code. But until then, you can reach out to Nurse.
So I'm at 831-332-3001. And my email address is jen@nursejenjordan.com. And you can always just, text me or call me if you have questions about that event or anything else. Yeah. I like to go down rabbit holes about cool health things.
Yeah. And feel free to ask her about that time waiver machine and inquire about all that, because I think that's a very extraordinary technology. There's only not even a half dozen of those that even exist here in the United States. So I think it's really important that people know that that is available and that you'll be able to help them with that. So I don't think Leola has any questions. Carol, Leola, thank you for being on here. Those of you who are watching this on the replay on YouTube, on Facebook. Oh, it looks like Leola might have a question or a comment.
I just wanted to say thank you so much. That was an amazing testimony, and sending lots of love and light because they're amazing.
Thank you, Leola. I so appreciate that. I'm so glad you were to hear their story.
Yeah, and I definitely would like to know more about the machine.
Time waiver.
The time waiver. And
give her a call.
Yes, I did write it down.
Yeah, give her a call. So, all right, my friends and gems. Well, I want to thank you today for tuning in, tapping in, turning on to this video, to this episode, this broadcast of how to activate your original pluripotent cells with these wonderful FDA compliant class 1 medical devices known as cell activation patches. Okay. And so you can get back to the person who referred you to this video to get more information. They'll be more than happy to get you started. And more importantly, answer any and all questions that you might have. If someone on this broadcast, whether it's Jen or Carol or myself or Leola, have actually referred you to this video, of course, get back to again to the person who referred you. And we are here more than anything. We just want you to get answers to your questions and to get you out of pain and to get you living a full, glorious life like Jen and like her parents, as you're witnessing and learning and discovering about what a difference a patch makes.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a great evening, you guys. Ciao for now. Stay warm, and we'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Remember, every day, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. and Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. on Zoom here. Ciao for now.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Great night.